Ahrefs just released something called Agent A, and after using it on my own websites for the past 24 hours, I can tell you exactly what it does and whether it's worth a spot in your SEO stack. I'm going to walk you through real use cases on screen, starting with SEO audits and going through internal linking, content gap analysis, and backlink strategy. No theory, no fluff, just me running the tool on actual sites. If you've never seen Agent A before, the interface is going to look really familiar. It looks almost identical to Claude with a chat window in the middle and a sidebar on the left. The difference is that this thing is wired directly into Ahrefs data on the back end, which is the entire reason it exists. When you open Agent A for the first time, you land on a screen that says, let's work on your keywords. There's a chat box, quick action buttons like find AI mention gap, analyze content gap, spot trending keywords, and your recent chats in the sidebar. The model running under the hood is Opus 4.7, the same model you'd be using in regular Claude. That matters because the reasoning quality is high. This isn't a stripped down chatbot. It will plan a workflow, pull data from Ahrefs, analyze it, and write up the strategic interpretation. Before I walk through use cases, let me show you the 3 sections that give Agent A its power. The first is skills, which are pre-built SEO workflows. The second is connectors, which are the typed actions the agent can use. The third is controls, where you set up memory and access management. The skills section is where most people will spend their time. When you open it, you see a grid of cards. Each card is a complete workflow built by the Ahrefs team. There's an AI mention gap analysis, an anchor text analysis, a content gap analysis, a fixed keyword cannibalization workflow, a broken link building workflow, and a declining content detection workflow that finds pages losing traffic and diagnoses why. You hit preview to see what the workflow does or launch to actually run it. That's the whole interface. It's stupid simple, which is the point. Now let's talk about connectors, because this is the part nobody is explaining properly. A connector is a typed action the agent can call against the Ahrefs API. When I open the connectors panel, I see 1,390 registered actions split across the major Ahrefs products. There's Ahrefs Keywords Explorer with 58 caps, Ahrefs Site Explorer with 101 caps, Ahrefs Site Audit with 49 caps, Ahrefs Brand Radar with 71 caps, plus Content Explorer, Rank Tracker, GSC integration, and more. Each one is a full toolkit the agent can pull from on demand. What this means in practice is that when you ask Agent A a question, it's not guessing or web searching like ChatGPT. It's making real API calls to your Ahrefs data and reasoning over it with Opus 4.7. The output is grounded in actual numbers from your account. The controls panel is where the power user stuff lives. There's a memory section where you can store persistent context that gets included in every new session. Business info, target keywords, competitors, brand voice, anything you don't want to retype every time. There's also jobs for scheduled runs and webhooks for integrations. If you connect this to a workflow tool like N8N or Make, you can have Agent A running scheduled SEO reports overnight or kicking out internal linking recommendations every Monday. The jobs and webhooks features are what unlock the agency use case. All right, let me walk you through the actual workflow I ran. The first thing I tested was a content opportunities analysis on a real site. I opened a new chat, typed in my domain, and asked it to find content gaps I should be filling. Within about 30 seconds, Agent A had pulled my organic keyword profile, identified my top 3 competitors, run a content gap analysis through the Ahrefs API, and started outputting a prioritized list of keywords I'm not ranking for, but my competitors are. It grouped the keywords by topic cluster, flagged the lowest competition ones, and gave me a recommended order to attack them in. That's the part that's hard to do in regular Ahrefs. You can pull the same data manually, but you'd be staring at a spreadsheet making your own judgment calls. Agent A does the judgment call for you and gives you the why behind it. Now, let me be honest about what this tool is and isn't. Agent A is a thinking layer on top of the Ahrefs API. It's not magic. It can only work with the data Ahrefs has, so you still need to sanity check the output the same way you would with any SEO tool. Let's talk about the second use case, which is internal linking. Internal linking is one of those tasks nobody wants to do manually because it's tedious, but it's one of the highest leverage SEO activities you can run. I asked Agent A to analyze my internal linking structure and tell me which pages needed more internal links pointing at them. It pulled my full site crawl through the site audit connector, mapped out my existing internal link graph, and identified the pages with high organic value but low internal link equity flowing into them. The output was a table of source pages, target pages, and suggested anchor text for each new internal link. I could have spent 4 hours doing that manually. The agent did it in about 2 minutes. Internal linking is half the equation. External backlinks are the other half. For that second half, I rely on backlinkmanagement.io because it handles the actual link acquisition automatically, without me running outreach campaigns. Agent A tells you what links you need. Backlink management gets them for you. Let me show you the third use case, which is the SEO audit. I ran a full site audit through Agent A on a peptide site I work with. The audit kicked off the site audit connector, crawled the site, and came back with a categorized list of issues. Critical issues like broken pages at the top, then warnings like thin content, then optimization opportunities at the bottom. What I liked is that for every issue, Agent A explained not just what the issue was, but why it mattered for ranking and how to fix it. Most site audit tools just give you a flag. This one gives you the fix. It also prioritized issues by estimated traffic impact, which is exactly what you want. For the fourth use case, I ran a backlink analysis on a competitor. This is where Agent A really shines if you're in a competitive niche. I asked it to pull the top performing pages on my competitor's site, show me which were attracting the most backlinks, and identify what made those pages link worthy. It used the Site Explorer connector to pull the data, sorted by referring domains, and then did something I didn't expect. It actually went and read the content on those pages to understand why people were linking to them. Was it a data study? A free tool? A controversial opinion? A definitive guide? The output was a tactical breakdown of the link bait formula my competitors were using, plus a list of suggested content angles I could create to compete for those backlinks. That's the kind of analysis a senior SEO consultant charges a few $100 for, and Agent A spits it out in 3 minutes. Let me also talk about the AI visibility skills, because this category is going to matter more and more as Google rolls out AI overviews and as ChatGPT and Perplexity become real traffic sources. Agent A has a skill called AI mention gap analysis that finds queries where AI assistants are mentioning your competitors but not you. There's also an AI citation freshness audit that finds AI cited pages that are outdated and need a refresh. If you've got pages from 2023 still being cited in ChatGPT answers, those need to be updated immediately because freshness signals matter in AI search. Ahrefs is one of the few platforms that has both traditional SEO data and AI visibility data in the same place, and Agent A is the layer that ties them together. For agencies, the implications here are huge. If you're managing 10 client accounts, you can build a memory context for each client, set up jobs to run weekly audits, and have a webhook fire whenever something significant changes. That reporting workflow that used to eat 10 hours a week can be automated down to maybe 2 hours of review. Let me give you my honest take on who this tool is for. If you're an SEO agency, an in-house SEO team, or a founder doing serious content marketing, this is going to pay for itself fast. The hours saved on analysis work alone justify the cost. If you're a hobbyist blogger or someone who only thinks about SEO once a month, this is probably overkill. One more thing, Agent A doesn't replace your need for execution tools. Strategy without execution is just a nice document. While Agent A tells you exactly what content to write, what links to build, and what technical issues to fix, you still need a system to actually do those things. That's why backlinkmanagement.io is the execution layer in my stack. Agent A tells me which competitor pages have the best backlink profiles. Backlink management handles the actual link acquisition daily on autopilot. All right, let me wrap up with a few practical tips. First, take 15 minutes to set up your memory in the controls section before you start running queries. As your domain, top competitors, target keywords, and brand voice. The quality of every output goes up dramatically once the agent has this context. Second, start with the pre-built skills before you try writing custom prompts. They're tuned by the Ahrefs team and produce better results than freestyle prompts in most cases. Third, treat the output as a starting point, not a final answer. Agent A is great at surfacing opportunities and analyzing data, but the final calls on strategy should come from you. That's the full breakdown on Agent A. The interface is clean, the data is real, the reasoning is solid, and the workflow library is going to keep growing. For anyone already invested in Ahrefs, this is the obvious next step. I think we're going to look back on tools like Agent A as the moment SEO software shifted from being dashboards we stare at to agents we collaborate with. The dashboards are still there, but the value has moved up the stack. If you found this video useful, keep watching one of the videos on screen right now. I've got a deeper dive on the AI visibility side of Agent A coming next. See you in the next one.